Hey, how's it going? George Anderson here with a video for you today on procrastination and the fourth reason why we procrastinate, put things off. We've already covered when things are unpleasant. We've talked about when things are untimed. There's no end in sight for doing the thing. And we've talked about when things are unclear. There's no definition as to what we actually need to do. The fourth reason for procrastination is when things are unimportant. And I need to explain what I mean by that first of all. Stephen Covey talks about this in his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He talks about this productivity matrix and how something can be either important important and or urgent. So if things are urgent but not important, like a ringing phone, there's urgency to it, and then we tend to kind of prioritize those things because they're easy. We feel like we're making progress. That's not where you want to be. If something is important but it's not very urgent, this is kind of where we want at the other end of the spectrum. This is where we want to spend our time. But this, unfortunately, is the problem area as well. The other two quadrants in that little matrix, I've probably got about it completely the wrong way here, is if something is important and urgent, that's when deadlines are upon us. We have to get this thing done. It is important. We can't not do it. We have to do it right now. So that's when things are important and urgent. And the other thing, when things aren't important and they're not urgent, and this is things like, I'm just going to go and check social media, or I'm going to have a quick flick on email, see if anybody's got back to me yet. Now, both of those things are not really very important, and neither of them are urgent either. And a lot of the time we spend wasting and procrastinating is spent in that zone there, so we don't want to be there. We want to be not in the important and urgent deadline-driven zone. We want to be in the important and non-urgent. But this is the challenge. Right, when we haven't got that deadline, we haven't got that pressure, we tend not to do the things. We find other things that perhaps are more urgent and need to be done, maybe not even quite so important. But getting into the habit, the practice of focusing on what's coming up, looking at what's non-urgent but is there on the horizon, is a great practice to be in if we want to start dropping our stress levels. I've no doubt at all that if you're hit with a deadline, you have to get this work done, you'll do whatever it takes to get that thing done. But I also bet it doesn't feel too great, does it? Right? You don't enjoy that experience, or maybe you do, maybe you thrive and you actually enjoy that pressure of having deadlines right there. You waste all the time leading up to it, that it's go, 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 go. But I think for most people, we'd prefer to be a little more organized and on top of things and proactive rather than reacting to this looming deadline. So one tip, one way of getting around that is to self-impose deadlines. And you can do this. It doesn't just work if you say, right, well, I need to do this in 2 weeks, therefore I'm going to get it done in a week. It doesn't work like that. You need to have somebody else holding your feet to the fire. So the tip for this is to find somebody, a trusted friend who you respect and don't want to let down, and tell them that you've got this thing to do, this is your goal, this is the thing that has to happen, and you're going to get it done by this date. And that might be the first part of a bigger project. Maybe it's the first module in an 8 module course that you're working through. You have to get through this course before we take an exam at the end. You don't want to cram everything in the last 2 weeks. You want to do a module a week. So you tell your trusted accountability buddy who's going to hold your feet right up to the fire, and he's going to ask you, how did you get on with that thing you said you were going to do? You tell him that by the end of the second week, I'm going to have done 2 of those modules. By the end of the 4th week, I'm going to have done all 4 of the first half of of that course. You tell them what you're going to do. You commit to somebody else. Now, they're not going to do anything, right? What can they do? Unless, they're not going to send the boys around. They're not going to, actually do anything mean or nasty to you. But knowing that somebody who you respect and you don't want to let down is going to ask you about this thing at a predetermined time is often enough to get you into action. It imposes a false deadline, something that you are deliberately putting in place yourself. It's not the deadline imposed by the thing, the course, a race that you're training for example. It's something that you're putting in place. And you have somebody else just check up on you to make sure that you've done the things you said you were going to do. So there's the way to get around an unimportant or seemingly unimportant. It's a bit of a misnomer really, but it begins with an un, which fits with unpleasant, unclear, untimed, unimportant. We all know that they are important, they just don't seem important at the time until we have that deadline looming. So let's get away from looming deadlines, let's get cracking on those things now. Don't procrastinate, don't put it off. Find somebody who can hold your feet to the fire, hold you accountable, and hopefully help you reduce that stress level. Get more done that you need to get done. Bye for now.